A long-lost Stone Age megastructure has just been discovered in Germany.
And a huge wall of skulls built by the Aztecs was found in Mexico City.
More on that right now.
A 115-foot tall, 40-foot wide wooden rack adorned with hundreds of enemy and sacrificial skulls. That is what would have greeted you if you had been unlucky enough as to stumble into the Aztec Cathedral in Mexico City sometime between 1485 and 1502. It is no secret that the Aztecs are an incredibly mysterious civilization known for their advanced architectural feats and aggression. But it wasn't until the discovery of the skull rack back in 2015 that historians realized just how proud the civilization was of their violent ways. The skull rack was found in the corner of a chapel in the Aztec capital. While many of the skulls were likely obtained through human sacrifice, others had a different origin. Historians believe that certain skulls, the ones bleached white for preservation, belonged to enemy warriors who were captured during battles and then killed. The combination of sacrificial and enemy skulls has led historians to believe that the rack is symbolic of the two most important aspects of Aztec life: spirituality and war.
News about a huge ancient wall discovered recently just came out in February. Off the coast of Germany, a long-lost Stone Age megastructure was spotted, and it may be the oldest in Europe discovered to date. In 2021, scientists on a research vessel found something surprising off Germany's Baltic coast, a submerged stretch of stones, and after checking it out, they think this could be Europe's oldest known man-made megastructure, which they've named Blinker Wall. The wall is believed to have been built by Stone Age hunters using it to catch animals. Blinker Wall is made up of over 1,300 stones and about 300 larger boulders, more than half a mile along the seafloor, and is nearly 70 feet underwater in the Bay of Mecklenburg, standing around 1.5 feet. It's believed to have been built around 10,000 years ago. The wall was likely built to guide and trap reindeer, which tend to follow straight paths in the landscape. When it was built, Blinker Wall would have been on dry land, running alongside a lake where reindeer gathered. The idea was to create an artificial bottlenecking, possibly with a second wall, or using the lakeshore to direct the animals towards the hunters. The crazy part is the wall was discovered purely by accident. Students were on a training exercise using sonar to map the seafloor about 6 miles off the German coast when they noticed a straight line of objects which turned out to be rocks. Other archaeologists arrived and determined that the wall was indeed man-made. It's the first Stone Age hunting structure that's ever been found in the Baltic Sea region.
Stonehenge is nothing compared to Superhenge. I mean, it's in the name. Just 3.2 kilometers or 2 miles away from the elusive Stonehenge lies Superhenge. Now, because of their close proximity and the similarity of the structures, including the fact that they are both comprised of the same stones, it is believed that they might be connected. But as we know nothing about how either of them came to be, there is really no way of knowing for sure. The two are estimated to have been built around the same time, somewhere between 3100 and 1600 BC. But unlike Stonehenge, which was discovered back in the 1620s, Superhenge, which is 15 times the size of Stonehenge, wasn't discovered until 2015, because the monument had somehow become buried underground along the Durrington Walls in Great Britain. Seeing as there are no records of either Stone nor Superhenge, and the fact that despite being discovered 400 years ago, we still have no idea what Stonehenge was used for, we have absolutely no clue what the purpose of Superhenge might be. But theories do include a burial monument, a meeting place for kings, some kind of astronomical computer, or even a way to communicate with other worldly beings. But I want to know, what do you think it is? Down below.
Nan Madol. This place is incredibly cool because it's an ancient city built on about 100 artificial islands connected by canals off the coast of Pompeii Island in Micronesia. It's sometimes called the Venice of the Pacific. The city was constructed around the 12th century, with islands being made by stacking huge stones to create walls and platforms. Nan Madol had temples, tombs, and living quarters for the rulers and priests of the time. The city was designed to impress and control, with the ruling class living on the islands and the common people living on the mainland. One of the most impressive structures in Nan Madol is Nandawas, a royal mortuary built with walls 25 feet high. The city started to decline around the 16th century, and by the time the Europeans arrived in the 1800s, Nan Madol was abandoned and overgrown. But it looks really pretty now. now.
1,420 years ago, an unknown ancient civilization managed to do something we couldn't even do today. Sometime between 536 and 600 AD, this mystery civilization managed to create a megastructure made out of magnetic stones that weigh about 131 tons each. For reference, modern-day earth-moving equipment can move between 7 to 120 tons, so 131 is really out of the question. So how the hell did whoever brought the stones of Pumapunku bring them up the Andes Mountains in Bolivia? Well, no one knows. We also have no idea how they managed to carve the stones into such precise shapes. It's an engineering mystery. And not only do we not know how Pumapunku was built, we also have no idea why, although theories suggest that the structures were used as spiritual and ritual centers. And of course there is the theory that the civilization who built Pumapunku were massive, highly intelligent humanoid beings that were often mistaken for aliens but actually originated on Earth before either leaving this planet or going extinct. But that one doesn't really fly in the scientific community. However, it's my personal favorite.
Found near the city of Cajamarca in northern Peru is a very fascinating archaeological site called Cumbe Mayo. It is this intricate system of ancient stone canals, considered one of the world's oldest irrigation systems dating back over 3,000 years. The canals stretch over 5.5 miles. There was advanced engineering skills at play here for sure. What baffles researchers is the precision of these canals. Considering the challenging terrain of the Andes, the canals were designed with such accuracy that even today they still carry water from the Atlantic side of the Andes to the Pacific. You also have the stone forest, which is quite a sight. These are tall, upright limestone pillars, some reaching up to 60 feet high. There are also petroglyphs and carvings on some of the rocks at Cumbe Mayo depicting animals, geometric shapes, and human figures.
20 famous massive stone sculptures carved into granite located in Japan with no known origin. So how did these monoliths come to be? Out of the 20 large stones, one stands out, Masuda no Inafune, which translates to the rock ship of Medusa. The structure is 11 meters long, 8 meters wide, and just below 5 meters high, and it weighs around 800 tons. No one knows why, when, or who built the structures found in the village of Asuka located in the Takachi district of Japan, and no one knows how they were made either. While some historians have put forth the theory that the stones might have been created by Buddhists in the year 538 due to the close proximity of the monuments to many Buddhist shrines and temples, the fact that the structures do not exhibit any Buddhist markers make the theory highly debated. As for now, the monoliths of Asuka remain pretty much a complete mystery, but I'm starting to think civilizations back in the day were just a hell of a lot stronger than civilizations today, because we couldn't do it.
Marquasi is a little different from everything else on its list in that it's a natural formation. Or is it? High in the Andes Mountains near Lima, Peru is the plateau surrounded by a collection of massive granite rock formations. The location is famous for the mysterious shapes resembling human faces and animals carved into the rocks. The star of the show here is the assortment of large stone structures, some reaching up to 20 feet in height, sculpted apparently by natural weathering, but some of these formations look a lot like anthropomorphic figures, like faces, animals, even depictions of ancient deities. The interpretation of these shapes varies. Some think these were intentionally sculpted by an ancient advanced civilization, others say it's just pareidolia that we're looking at here, but a lot of scientists believe that the anthropomorphic shapes on Marquasi's rocks formed out of erosion processes with wind and water sculpting the granite over time. But I don't know, looking at some of these formations, they look pretty uncanny to me. It's hard to believe that someone didn't intentionally do this.
Proof of aliens in the form of 24 coffin-shaped boxes discovered in a hillside cave in Saqqara located near the Great Pyramid of Giza. The boxes are solid Aswan granite and they have been cut flawlessly, a feat not only impressive in ancient times but equally as impressive today because, simply put, we do not have the technology to make such precision cuts in such a hard piece of stone. Not only that, but each box weighs around 100 tons and there are 24 of them. As of right now, no one knows why the boxes exist, what's inside of them, or the significance of there being 24 of them. The main theory of the boxes is, of course, that they were created by aliens. And then to go off of that theory, it's believed that the Egyptians built the structure around it where the boxes are now. At this point, I'm honestly tempted to believe this theory. Also, I'm incredibly curious to find out what's inside of these boxes. So if we do, expect a video on that.
Göbekli Tepe is an ancient archaeological site located in southeastern Turkey. It's considered one of the oldest known monumental structures in the entire world, dating back to around 9600 BC, which makes it over 11,000 years old. What's fascinating about Göbekli Tepe is that it was built by hunter-gatherer societies long before the advent of agriculture or settled communities. The site has a bunch of large, circular and oval-shaped enclosures made of massive stone pillars. These pillars, some of which weigh several tons, are intricately carved with animals like lions and bulls, snakes, birds. Archaeologists believe that the place operated as a ceremonial or religious center rather than a place for people to actually live. It's thought that ancient people gathered here for rituals, probably involving feasting, dancing, and honoring their ancestors or gods. The place was deliberately buried around 8000 BC, or at least parts of it anyway, and possibly this was a ritual or to mark the end of its use. This turned out to be perfect though, because the burial ended up preserving this site remarkably well until it was rediscovered in 1994. Pumapunku in the Andes Mountains of Bolivia is part of a larger temple complex linked to the Tiwanaku culture. It's thought to have been built between 536 and 600 CE, but some researchers think it could be even older than that. The site has these impressive stone blocks, with the largest weighing around 131 tons, way heavier than most modern construction equipment, and they were sourced about 50 miles away. Moving these enormous stones to such a high altitude site would have been no small feat. The area is above the tree line, which means they couldn't use wooden rollers. So how did the builders actually manage to transport these massive blocks? And it's not just how heavy they are, it's the intricate carvings on them. There are these precise etchings cut into the stone, perfectly straight lines. Did they have some kind of advanced tools we just don't know about? Without knowing it, I'd think these were carved with modern day electric tools, but of course that wouldn't have been the case in the year 600. In Saqqara, near the pyramid of Djoser in Egypt, archaeologists discovered 24 coffin-shaped black boxes. These boxes are made of solid Aswan granite, a material so tough that it's hard to scratch even with modern tools. Each box is massive, weighing over 100 tons, and they're designed to be airtight. The lids of these boxes are also made from granite and weigh about 30 tons each. The precision with which these boxes were cut and assembled is just astonishing. Some think that the sheer level of skill shown in these boxes is just so high that it seems almost impossible for ancient people to have achieved it. Of course they did though, which just goes to show how truly impressive the ancient Egyptians were, unless of course you're in the alien camp and think that aliens just helped them out or that the Egyptians copied some advanced design of theirs. As for now though, nobody knows exactly why there are 24 boxes or what their original purpose was. Nan Madol is an incredible ancient city located on the coast of Pompeii in Micronesia. The site has about 100 artificial islets spread over 150 acres of lagoon. It's estimated that it could have housed more than 1,000 people. Built between 1100 and 1628 CE, Nan Madol was likely a ceremonial and political center. What makes Nan Madol fascinating is how it was built. The structures are made from massive basalt columns, and there was no mortar. The builders just constructed and placed the stones perfectly. It's incredibly impressive, but how did they do it? Well, legend has it that giant birds lifted and placed these heavy stones. The layout of Nan Madol is complex as well, with interconnected islets and waterways. This was a highly organized society. The people who lived here had very advanced skills. Asuka is a village in Japan that dates back to the Kofun period, around 250 to 552 CE. The area is rich in history, and the massive stone structures definitely add to the allure. There are about 20 famous stone monuments here, and to this day, some of them are still super mysterious. No one knows exactly who built them or why. This is definitely the case with Masuda no Anofune, or the rock ship of Masuda. This massive stone structure measures 36 feet long, about 26 feet wide, and is about 16.5 feet tall, weighing around 800 tons. It sits at the top of a hill, and looking at it, it doesn't resemble anything else in the area. A lot of the other monuments look more like Buddhist pieces, but this does not look like your typical Buddhist architecture at all. In fact, I don't really know what style of architecture it resembles. It looks almost alien. At the very least, it looks like something you'd see in a modern art museum. There are some theories about its purpose, but none have been proven. Some think it could have been a ceremonial site, others think it might have had some astronomical significance, which seems to be the go-to explanation when experts just have no idea what the hell something is. It's something to do with the stars. The Longyu Caves are a group of 24 man-made caves in China. The caves were carved out of sandstone, and as for who built them and why, no one knows. They were mentioned in a 17th century poem, but no one really knows exactly when they were created. Some clay pots found in the silt inside the caves have been dated back between 206 BCE and 23 CE though. Another cool thing about these caves is that they were found by accident. In June of 1992, 4 farmers drained some ponds in their village, and there they were. What they thought were just ponds turned out to be huge man-made caverns. After doing some digging, they discovered 19 more caverns nearby too. The caves could be over 2,000 years old, but there are no historical records detailing how or why they were built. But how would they have been constructed though? Well, with the types of tools available at the time, it would have required around 1,000 skilled workers digging 24 hours a day for many years to complete a project like this. Another odd part, there's no evidence of where all the rubble went. It's estimated that over 1 million cubic meters of stone were removed, but not a single trace of it has ever been found. The walls of Sacsayhuaman. I was saying that, Sacsayhuaman. They're a very impressive feat of ancient engineering found just outside Cusco, Peru, built by the Inca in the 15th century. It's a massive fortress famous for its enormous stone walls made from giant blocks, some weighing up to 200 tons. And aside from how heavy they are, the stones fit together so nicely and tightly that you can't even slide a toothpick between them. Sacsayhuaman indeed. This site would have been used as a fortification and for ceremonial practices. The walls are arranged in a zigzag pattern, which makes the place effective for defense. But how did the Incas manage to transport and shape these massive stones without modern tools? Well, there are theories. They could have used wooden sledges or ramps, but no one really knows for sure. When the Spaniards arrived and took over Cusco, they were so amazed by the walls that they believed only demons could have built such an incredible structure. They even tried to tear down parts of it, but the boulders were just too heavy for them to move. The stone spheres of Costa Rica, also known as the Diquis spheres. These perfectly round stone spheres range in size from just a few inches to over 8 feet in diameter, with some weighing as much as 16 tons. They're found mainly in the Diquis Delta and the nearby Isla del Cano. Most of these spheres are made of a hard type of granite called granodiorite, and they're believed to have been created by the now extinct Diquis culture between 500 CE and 1500 CE. How did they carve such perfectly round, smooth stones? We don't know for sure. Some researchers think they might have used tools made from harder materials or just had techniques that we can't fully understand today. There are also myths and legends that the Diquis people had a potion that they used to soften the rocks and sculpt them. All we know for sure is that the precision and craftsmanship here is very impressive. What about what they were used for? The main theory is that they were used to mark the burial sites of important people. There's always the possibility though that they built them just because. I mean, why not? They look nice. Unfortunately, a lot of these spheres have been moved or destroyed over the years. Only about 30 are still in their original locations. The Plain of Jars is one of the most fascinating and mysterious archaeological sites in Laos. The site is full of large stone jars scattered all over the landscape. Some of the jars are massive, weighing up to several tons, some are much smaller. There are over 2,000 of these jars across the region, with the largest concentration found at a site called Site 1. And you guessed it, no one really knows who made these jars or why they were created. But archaeologists think the jars date back around 500 BCE to 500 CE. The jars were often carved from sandstone or limestone and are mostly cylindrical. Some theories suggest they were used for burial practices, possibly to hold the remains of the dead, but legend has it they were created by giants. In Bata Valley, Indonesia, you'll find some incredible stone monuments. These statues look a bit like the moai from Easter Island. You'd think that with such striking designs, historians would easily know when and why these megaliths were created, but again, no one really knows how old they are or what they were built for. When locals are asked about the purpose of these statues, they often just say, well, they've always been there. Some believe the megaliths are linked to human sacrifice, others think they were to ward off evil spirits. Some tales even say these stones are criminals turned to stone and that they can move on their own at night. Another cool thing, the megaliths weren't made from stone found in the local area. The Olmec colossal heads. These are some of the most beautiful artifacts from the ancient world and some of the most intriguing. They were crafted by the Olmec civilization, which lived on the Gulf of Mexico between 1200 BCE and 400 BCE. The heads seem to represent important Olmec rulers, given how difficult it would have been to construct them, and the fact that each and every one of them are unique. So far, 17 of these heads have been found, with 10 from San Lorenzo and 4 from La Venta, both major Olmec sites. Each head is carved from a single basalt boulder, and some of these massive stones were transported over 62 miles to where they stand today. They're actually older than the more famous moai of Rapa Nui. You can tell by looking at them that they're incredibly heavy, 6 tons at the smallest to over 50 tons for the largest, which was never completed. We still don't know exactly how the Olmec moved these gigantic boulders. In fact, we don't really know a whole lot about the Olmecs at all. These heads are some of the few clues we have about their civilization, which mysteriously vanished over 2,000 years ago.
First up, we have the Bata Valley statues. The exact civilization that created these statues and their purpose, of course, remains largely unknown, shrouded in the mists of time.
The Olmec heads, known for their detailed and expressive facial features, bear a stylistic resemblance to some of the Bata Valley statues, particularly in the emphasis on facial expression and scale.
Some of these statues are enormous, towering over visitors and creating a sense of awe and perhaps a little intimidation. The local Turaha people have their own myths and legend about these statues, often involving spirits and supernatural beings, because there's simply no other explanation. Some of the statues have mysteriously vanished over the years, leading to speculation about theft and illegal trafficking. Next up, we have the ancient megaliths on Easter Island.
Could these monoliths connect with the ancient structures of Göbekli Tepe? And if so, does that mean they could have been carved over 12,000 years ago?
The island's civilization collapsed due to deforestation, resource depletion, and potential warfare, leading to a decline in population and, of course, a loss of cultural knowledge. Evidence suggests that the islanders resorted to some pretty dark methods during times of extreme hardship and conflict. There's not a lot to eat, so you can do the rest. The exact origins of the Rapa Nui people and their advanced civilization remain a mystery, sparking theories about lost civilizations and, of course, extraterrestrial involvement. If we can't explain it here on Earth, maybe an alien up there has all the answers. You never know. The true purpose of the iconic moai statues remain unclear, leading to various interpretations, including religious, political, and astronomical significance. What we do know is that there has to have been advanced technology in order to create these statues. But what they did and how they did it, that's life's biggest mystery. Next up, we have the Puma Punku, Bolivia megastructure. Now, some of these stones used to construct Puma Punku weigh over 100 tons. How ancient civilizations transported and precisely cut these massive blocks remain a mystery. The stones are cut with incredible precision, and the joints are so tight that even a razor blade can't fit in between them. So somebody back then knew what they were doing. This level of accuracy is still difficult to achieve even with modern technology today. The stones are adorned with intricate carvings and designs, showcasing advanced knowledge of geometry and, of course, engineering. Some stones seem to defy gravity, literally balancing on corners or edges in ways that modern engineers struggle to replicate. The advanced techniques used to shape and transport these massive stones, they suggest a level of technology that was lost to time. Now, some believe that Pumapunku holds secrets about ancient civilizations and advanced technologies that were deliberately hidden or lost. Next up is Bori Kalimbong. The exact purpose and construction methods of these megaliths remain largely unknown, shrouded in the mist of time. Nestled on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, Bori Kalimbong is a mesmerizing megalithic site that continues to baffle archaeologists and, of course, intrigue visitors alike. Now, this ancient complex boasts hundreds of towering stone monoliths, some soaring to heights exceeding over 10 meters. These imposing structures, adorned with intricate carvings depicting animals and human figures, they stand as silent witness to a bygone era. The detailed carvings on the stone depict scenes of life and death, often with haunting expressions and symbolic imagery. Now, the site is believed to have been used for various rituals, possibly involving sacrifice or ancestor worship, or both. The sheer scale and complexity of the site, combined with the unanswered questions about its history, this can all spark a sense of wonder and perhaps a little bit of fear of the unknown. Yeah, definitely fear, heavy on the fear side. We for sure can't make a list like this and not include Stonehenge, located in England. The megalithic stones that make up Stonehenge weigh several tons each. How ancient people transported and erected these massive stones is still a subject of debate. Stonehenge is aligned with the summer and winter solstices, suggesting an advanced understanding of astronomy. Now, the site is believed to have been used for various rituals, possibly involving a human sacrifice or ancestor worship like the other ones, but perhaps the most intriguing theory is that Stonehenge was built by a highly advanced civilization that mysteriously vanished, leaving behind this enigmatic monument as a testament to their lost knowledge and power. A popular conspiracy theory, of course, suggests that Stonehenge was built by aliens who possessed advanced technology and knowledge. And while that's fun to believe, it's still pretty far-fetched. This theory is often supported by the precise astronomical alignments of the stones and the seemingly impossible way that they somehow lifted them, and now they're still in the same spot. So whatever happened, they knew exactly what they were doing, alien or not. Next up, we have Nan Madol. Nan Madol is a mysterious archipelago and artificial islands in Micronesia, and it's a testament to the ingenuity and ambition of its ancient builders. This enigmatic city, constructed over a millennium ago, is composed of massive stone walls and platforms rising dramatically from the tranquil waters of the Pacific Ocean. It looks like a ship coming up. The sheer scale and complexity of Nan Madol have baffled archaeologists for decades. How did the ancient inhabitants of Micronesia transport and manipulate such colossal stones across an entire ocean? That makes no sense. What advanced technology or even supernatural powers did they possess to do this? These questions remain, of course, unanswered, fueling speculation and intrigue. Moving on, the deer stones of Mongolia. These are enigmatic megalithic monuments that dot the vast landscapes of the ancient land. These towering stone structures, often adorned with intricate carvings of deer or other symbols, have captured the imagination of archaeologists and historians alike. The exact purpose of these stones, you guessed it, remains a mystery, shrouded in the mists of time, never to be known again. Now, some theories suggest that if they were lifted as markers for burial sites or as symbols of power and status, but that would still make no sense. Others believe that there may have been a religious or spiritual significance behind these, perhaps serving as objects of worship or as portals to the spirit world. The deer, a prominent motif in the carvings, hold deep cultural and spiritual significance for the nomadic peoples of Mongolia. It is often associated with strength, agility, and the power of nature. Those are the big three right there. The depiction of deer on these ancient stones may symbolize the connection between the people and the natural world, or it may represent a more profound spiritual meaning that we haven't discovered yet. Next up, we have the Trilithon of Baalbek. The Trilithon of Baalbek stands as a testament to the engineering prowess and sheer ambition of ancient civilizations. Nestled amidst the ruins of the Temple of Jupiter Baal, this colossal structure comprises 3 massive stone blocks, each weighing an estimate 750 tons. These behemoths, perfectly cut and meticulously placed, defy explanation. How did ancient people, without the aid of modern machinery, manage to quarry, transport, and lift these enormous stones right into position? Theories of abound, ranging from the practical to the fantastical. We can't figure this one out. Some suggest that the builders employed ingenious techniques like levers, pulleys, and inclined planes, while others propose more outlandish explanations, such as the involvement of advanced civilizations or even extraterrestrial intervention. The sheer scale of the trilithon and the precision of which it was constructed continue to baffle archaeologists and engineers alike. As we gaze upon this ancient marvel, we're left to wonder at the ingenuity and determination of the people who built it. Was it a feat of human ingenuity or something more alien? The mystery of the trilithon remains unsolved, inviting us to ponder the limits of human achievement and the possibilities of the unknown. Number 10. Wat Pumin. Wat Pumin is a stunning Buddhist temple in Nan, Thailand, famous for its breathtaking design and fascinating artwork. Each of the temple's 4 entrances feature a Buddha statue, and the interior walls are decorated with vibrant murals that depict everyday life back then. But there's more to this temple. A small dome-shaped building nearby offers a glimpse into the underworld. Yeah, it's actually rather terrifying. Inside, life-size scenes vividly portray what happens to those who stray from the Buddhist path. These dioramas show eerie punishments like people in boiling pots, people doused with hot oil, or people confined to trees while birds peck at them. Yeah, hard image to get out of your head. This unsettling display contrasts sharply with the peaceful murals inside the main temple, where life is, joyful and fun. Number 9. The Petra Monument. Petra has amazed archaeologists for centuries, but a recent discovery has unearthed something incredible. It's a massive hidden monument spotted by satellites. This raised platform, about the size of an Olympic swimming pool, it's a one of a kind. There's not many structures that are similar. Now today, Petra is a popular tourist destination, but once it was a thriving caravan city at a major trade crossroad. While many ancient structures in Petra's urban center have been uncovered since it was first mapped back in 1812, this monument remained hidden until quite recently. Experts believe it was once a grand raised platform with a small building on top and a massive landscape around it. Pottery found nearby suggests that it was built during Petra's early days, possibly as part of an important public project. Who knows what other secrets Petra might still be hiding. Number 8. The Lost Labyrinth of Egypt. Greek historians like Herodotus described an awe-inspiring labyrinth near the pyramid complex of Hawara, a sprawling underground maze with countless chambers, grand halls, and inscriptions. Sounds like something from the Mummy movies. I don't want to go down there at all. This labyrinth was said to contain vast treasures and invaluable records of Egypt's history and religion. Now, despite its legendary status, no trace of this massive structure has ever been found. Is it even real? Some believe it may have been destroyed, while others argue it lies buried beneath layers of sediment waiting to be unearthed eventually. Now, if it does exist, the labyrinth could hold the key to understanding spiritual beliefs, architectural advancements, and cultural practices of ancient Egypt, especially when we can't figure out how the pyramids were made. Maybe this could help us. Could this wonder still be hidden beneath the sands, holding secrets that could rewrite history? I mean, literally rewrite the pages of history? Only time will tell. Number 7. Neanderthal cave circles. Humans are pretty old. Deep within Bruniquel Cave in southern France, hundreds of carved stalagmites rise from the cave floor, forming these mysterious circles. Now, discovered in 1990 but closed off until 2013, researchers finally examined these formations and found evidence of their use by early humans for heat, light, and cooking. Yeah, you wouldn't think any of that when you just looked at a photo. Originally thought to be around 40,000 years old, carbon dating revealed something even more incredible. These structures date back 165,000 years. I told you, we're pretty old. At that time, the only inhabitants in the area were Neanderthals. They were quite far from being these brutish, unintelligent beings they were once thought to be. They weren't like those stupid cavemen at all. These 400 carefully crafted structures showcase their resourcefulness and skill. Yeah, pretty smart for being so old. Number 6. Ancient Greek naval base. Thousands of years ago, Athens built hundreds of sleek warships to defend themselves against the Persian Empire. Now, of course, you have to put these massive ships somewhere, so they would store them in a massive naval base. This colossal structure, built between 520 and 480 BC, is believed to have housed the ships that won the legendary Battle of Salamis. So after a decade of research in murky waters, we now know this naval yard was one of the most impressive feats of ancient engineering engineering and a big key to Greece's survival. Look out, Stonehenge, now we got a superhenge. Just 3 kilometers from Stonehenge lies an even larger ancient monument known as Superhenge. Hidden beneath the ground at Durrington Walls, this massive stone structure, uncovered in 2015, is believed to have once towered 4.5 meters during the Neolithic period. Though the stones mysteriously toppled and were buried around 4,500 years ago, their discovery paints a vivid picture of monumental site that rivaled Stonehenge in scale and maybe significance. See, inside the hedge, researchers also found timber-ringed circles, adding to this massive mystery of its purpose. A single stone called the Cuckoo Stone, made from the same material as Stonehenge, has been removed and studied. Now, given its size and proximity to its famous neighbor, many believe Superhenge is actually closely connected to Stonehenge, though its true purpose remains a puzzle lost in time. Number 4, the city at Old Sarum. Perched near Salisbury, England, Old Sarum is a fascinating site hiding the ruins of a medieval city beneath its surface. Yeah, imagine finding that. Oh, I found a city. Built in the late 11th century, the city once thrived with a castle, a cathedral, and bustling homes, peasants, all that medieval stuff. It was like Game of Thrones, only to be mysteriously abandoned 300 years later. Now, since traditional excavation is off limits due to its protected status, researchers have used advanced laser technology to map the underground structures. God, I love technology. Zoom! Found a castle. They've uncovered defensive walls, remnants of homes, and traces of furnaces and ovens. Now, while its ruins tell a story of life long ago, the reason for the city's disappearance, that is still an unsolved mystery. Number 3, Casa Grande. No, Ariana Grande does not live here. Archaeologists have uncovered some fascinating details about Casa Grande in Arizona. It was built around the early 13th century. This impressive structure included a ball court and a surrounding wall. But one mystery remains. What was the purpose of the 4-story central building? Was it a guard tower? Was it a grain silo? A religious center? It could have been anything. Was it something entirely different that we've ever mentioned? Abandoned long before Columbus's voyage and too deteriorated for Spanish explorers to investigate, the answers remain a mystery. Today, Casa Grande's main building is protected by a roof that was added in the 1930s, and the entire site stands as a federally protected national park. It's the first of its kind to preserve prehistoric ruins in the United States. Why we haven't been doing that for all of them, that's beyond me. Number 2, Bighorn Medicine Wheel. Scattered across North America, there are several medicine wheel monuments. They're these stone structures arranged in a wheel shape, sacred to many tribes of the northern Great Plains. But Wyoming's Bighorn Medicine Wheel, this one stands out. It measures at an impressive 75 feet in diameter, making it the largest of its kind. But wait, there's more. What's even more surprising is that it predates the arrival of the nearby Crow people. So in the 1970s, astronomer John Eddy made an intriguing discovery. Some spokes of the wheel align within the sunrise on different solstices, while others mark the rise of certain stars. It's like a map of the universe. That's crazy. This suggests that the site may have been once served as an ancient observatory. Yet the true origin of the wheel and those who built it remain a mystery to this day. Some like Transformers level stuff right there. It aligns with the stars? What is this, like E.T.? Number 1, Karnak stones. The impressively large collection of megalithic stones that cover the area of Karnak in France have boggled the minds of researchers for years. Why are they here? Who put them here? Who did this? They're also sometimes referred to as France's Stonehenge, ironically enough. Not a bad title. I guess there's Stonehenges everywhere, although these ones are quite different. The Karnak stones are a collection of 3,000 stones, which were all cut from the same rock and put in place somewhere around 500 BCE. Now, what confused a lot of researchers was the fact that even though these stones show alignments, dolmens, and other examples of ancient geography consistent with other sites, they really shouldn't have existed in this time period in which they were constructed. Scientists have been trying to decode the arrangement of the stones for years, but there's nothing. They're trying to figure out what it all means, but you know, they're looking at 3,000 stones, so they're like, I got nothing. It's a bunch of stones. I don't know what you want from me.
A 3,000-foot-long stone wall sits at the bottom of the Baltic Sea, and it was just discovered by a team of researchers back in 2021. Marine geologist Jacob Gearson led the team, who were on a research vessel teaching a field course to students. They were using echo sounders, which are these devices that use waves to map the sea floor. At one point, Gearson spitted something saying, to quote, "You saw there was something that kind of meanders through the map. I thought it's very likely that these things are rocks, one next to the other lined up. A year later, they returned to the site and confirmed that the ridge was made up of thousands of rocks, forming a wall about 1.5 feet tall. And the wall is ancient, dating back to the Stone Age. The researchers were amazed. How did it get there? Gearson didn't think it could have formed naturally. That was until they brought in the archaeologist. Berit Eriksson, a prehistoric archaeologist, took one look at the data and said, "This is man-made." So what was it used for? Eriksson thinks it was a hunting trap. The wall would have funneled in reindeer, making it easy for hunters to take them down. This was a pretty cool find because it's changed what archaeologists had previously thought about prehistoric people. They were building complex structures to hunt and gather. Ashley Lemke, an underwater archaeologist, agrees. She says this discovery shows that Stone Age people were capable of some pretty impressive construction projects. Research is still going on here. They've been looking for artifacts, mostly signs of hunting like arrowheads and ancient DNA. If they find it, it could completely rewrite our understanding of prehistoric Europe. The Broch of Gurnus is an ancient village in Scotland's Orkney Islands. This place is around 5,000 years old, and it's amazingly well preserved. I mean, you can still see the remnants of ancient homes, with hearths and beds still intact. It's surrounded by a ditch and ramparts, with a tower in the center. The tower is made of stone with walls up to 3.5 meters thick. That's some serious engineering, especially considering the limited technology available back then. Archaeologists have also found artifacts here. They found pottery, tools, ancient jewelry. The villagers were skilled farmers, growing crops like barley and wheat. They also would have raised livestock like cattle and sheep. But the Broch of Gurnus wasn't just a peaceful village. It was also a fortified stronghold with defensive walls and a tower that would have given the people a pretty solid view of the surrounding area. So it seems like the villagers were prepared to defend themselves against invaders. Next, let's head to France and explore the Carnac stones. Ancient people just loved their big stones, didn't they? So the Carnac stones are a series of stones stretching over 20 kilometers in Brittany. They're up to 4 meters tall, or just over 13 feet, and some are covered in carvings. They're estimated to be around 6,500 years old, making them one of the oldest prehistoric monuments in the world. That's even older than the pyramids of Egypt by 2,000 years. So what were the Carnac stones used for? Well, we're not entirely sure, but they are aligned with the stars and planets. Some of the stones are positioned to correspond with the rising and settling of the sun and moon. That's some pretty advanced astronomy, especially considering the limited technology available back then. The Carnac stones are also covered in ancient carvings depicting animals, humans, shapes, and symbols. The carvings give researchers some hints into what the culture and beliefs of the people were at the time. It's pretty fascinating to imagine the people who built these things. They were clearly a sophisticated and advanced society with a deep understanding of astronomy and mathematics. Back to Scotland now, we have the Brodgar Ring, also found in the Orkney Islands. This is a Neolithic circle of 60 stones surrounded by ditch and bank. The ring is estimated to be around 4,500 years old. What's cool about the Brodgar Ring is its incredible precision. The stones are spaced evenly apart, and the circle is almost perfectly symmetrical. And once again, the ring is aligned with the stars, corresponding with the rising and setting of the sun and moon. Archaeologists have found evidence of ritual activity here. Not that you'd really need artifacts to get that across. I look at ancient stone monoliths set up in a ring and my first thought is usually rituals. But they found pottery, tools, and ancient human remains. So it looks like this was a spiritual site for sure. But were people just buried here, or were they sacrificed? Older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids, we have the New Grange in Ireland. This is a massive monument, estimated to be around 5,200 years old. Okay, so this is really cool. The place looks a bit lame on the outside compared to something like the Great Pyramids, but not only does it look really creepy on the inside, it's also famous for its winter solstice illumination. On the shortest day of the year, a beam of sunlight enters the tomb through a small opening and illuminates the interior for about 17 minutes. Very Raiders of the Lost Ark, I love it. They're still not entirely sure what this place was though. Was it a tomb, a temple, or something else entirely? The ancient city of Tiwanaku in Bolivia. This place is around 2,500 years old, making it one of the oldest cities in the Americas. Tiwanaku is incredibly impressive. The city is filled with pottery, textiles, and very intricate carvings. Given how old this place is, it's amazing how straight some of these lines are. There's also evidence of advanced irrigation systems and agriculture. The city was built by the Tiwanaku people, who were obviously very gifted architects and sculptors. Their stone structures included temples, palaces, and monuments are all just so detailed. The city was an important center of trade and commerce, with goods coming in from all over the world. The place was abandoned around 1000 CE, and we still don't know exactly why. Some scientists think it might have been because of climate change or drought. Others think it was war or disease. Luckily, the site is incredibly well preserved, considering it's over 2,500 years old. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. This place is around 11,000 years old, making it one of the oldest human-made structures in the world. There's something really fascinating about this place. See, for years, scientists thought that only humans started building complex structures after they developed agriculture. But Göbekli Tepe proves that's not the case. The people who built this place were still hunter-gatherers, but it's filled with massive stone pillars, some of which are covered with all these detailed carvings. There's also evidence of ritual sacrifices and feasts. It's clear this was an important center for the people who built it. Architecture here is very unique. The site is made up of these circular and oval-shaped structures, some decorated with carvings of animals, humans, and symbols. But they're all incredibly detailed and intricate, showing a wide range of animals like lions, bulls, and snakes, and the carvings of humans seem to depict rituals or ceremonies. Angkor Wat in Cambodia. This place is only around 900 years old, but still, just look at it. It's breathtaking. Has to be one of the most impressive ancient cities in the world. The city is filled with stone carvings, temples, and canals. It also had advanced irrigation systems and agriculture. The city was built by the Khmer people, who built all these elaborate stone structures. There really is nothing like this place. It doesn't even look real. And parts of it have these huge roots and vegetation growing over the stone. It's just beautiful. Palenque in Mexico. This place is around 1,300 years old. It's definitely one of the most impressive Mayan ruins in the world. Palenque sits in the heart of the Chiapas jungle. It's a collection of temples and palaces. One of the most impressive structures is the Temple of Inscriptions, which is filled with intricate hieroglyphics that tell the story of the Palenque's history. The Mayans who built this place were skilled astronomers and mathematicians. They developed a sophisticated calendar system that's still used today, and their knowledge of astronomy allowed them to accurately predict solar eclipses and planetary alignments, and possibly even hang out with aliens, but that's a topic for another video. The city was built strategically around some major trade routes, and its merchants traded goods with other Mayan cities. The city was abandoned by the 8th century and sat buried in the jungle until it was rediscovered and excavated in 1787. Deep in the jungles of Colombia lies a legend that's been passed down for centuries. Ciudad Perdida, or the Lost City, is a fabled place of gold and riches, hidden away from the outside world. Many have searched for it, but few have claimed to have found it. The legend dates back to a time of the Spanish conquistadors, who would hear stories about this hidden city deep in the jungle. The city was said to be filled with gold and precious jewels, and many believed it was the capital of the ancient Terona civilization. For centuries, explorers searched for the mysterious city. Some said they did find it, but they were never able to prove it. That was until 1972, when a group of local farmers came across this series of stone steps deep in the jungle. The steps led to a hidden city, filled with ancient ruins and artifacts, and as archaeologists started to explore the city, they realized that this place could have very likely been the mythical Lost City. The city was filled with intricate stone carvings, pottery, and gold artifacts, all of which dated back to the time of the Terona civilization. Today, Ciudad Perdida is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's considered one of the most important archaeological discoveries in recent history. Pretty amazing, and it's stories like this that keep my fingers crossed for Atlantis.